New tonight in the transfer of power in Washington, President-elect Joe Biden unveiled more members of his incoming cabinet today, including naming Katherine Tai to be the top U.S. trade envoy.
But one cabinet pick in particular could stir up some controversy, and tonight we're bringing you both sides.
NewsNation national political correspondent Dean Reynolds joins us now from the newsroom with more. Dean?
Joe, by selecting former General Lloyd Austin to lead the Pentagon, Mr. Biden has increased the diversity of his cabinet choices, but he's also opened up a debate about whether a recently retired military man is the right choice for a department where civilian leadership has been the rule. Lloyd Austin would be the first African-American to lead the Defense Department, but the president-elect said he was chosen because of what he said were the ex-general's extraordinary courage, character, experience, and accomplishments.
In my judgment, there's no question that he is the right person for this job at the right moment, leading the Department of Defense at this moment in our nation's history. This is not a post he sought, but I sought him.
And yet there is a law that clearly requires any active duty officer to wait at least 7 years after retiring before he can become Secretary of Defense. Austin retired from the Army in 2016, so Congress would have to pass a waiver in his case, just as it did when President Trump selected retired Marine General Jim Mattis as his Pentagon chief in 2017. But critics say putting former commanders in political posts like Defense Secretary is unwise.
The more we draw retired generals or active duty into our partisan politics, the more they're going to become partisan themselves, the more we'll have liberal generals and conservative generals, the less effective they'll be. And the things that we like about the military and the things that we need in our military to keep us safe will cease to be what they are today.
Jim Golby is a senior fellow at the Clements Center for National Security at the University of Texas.
I actually think there are good reasons to be having this debate now. After 4 years in which President Trump treated the military in some really unconventional and surprising ways, in which he often talked about my generals, in which at times he talked about troops as part of his constituency.
While both houses of Congress waived the 7-year rule in 2017, 17 Democratic senators voted against the idea back then, including Tammy Duckworth of Illinois.
I will remain in the same position I was when I voted against the waiver for General Mattis. I will vote against the waiver for General Austin.
Today, the general said he understands the concerns.
When I concluded my military service 4 years ago, I hung up my uniform for the last time and went from being General Lloyd Austin to Lloyd Austin. It is an important distinction and one that I make with utmost seriousness and sincerity. And so I come to this role, this new role, as a civilian leader, with military experience to be sure, but also with a deep appreciation and reverence for the prevailing wisdom of civilian control of our military.
Now, whatever the concerns, the Biden transition team is reportedly confident that Congress will go along with this choice and make Lloyd Austin the next Secretary of Defense.